I mean, what the hell? Phillip Rivers? I don't. So the Daniel Jones injury changed, and we can talk about the whole Phillip Rivers thing and all that. But from the 49ers perspective, the Daniel Jones injury for me shifted the 49ers expectations a little bit for this year. Because in my mind, they've sort of been playing with house money, given the injury problems they've had with players missing either chunks of time or the entire season. I thought that if they made the playoffs, it would be a pretty significant accomplishment that they could be proud of. And if they missed the playoffs, the injuries caught up with them. Especially when you look at the end of the year, it's Indianapolis at Indianapolis, and you get the Bears at home, and the Bears are playing well, and you get Seattle, and Seattle might be the best team in the league this year. But they got to, if they take care of business against Tennessee, they get to their 10 wins. They're 10-4. That puts them in a good spot to make the playoffs. But I think if you win one of those final three, you're a lock. 11 wins gets you in. And I thought that if they beat Tennessee and they get to 10, but man, you know what? Couldn't beat a good Indianapolis team on the road, and you came home on a short week. You couldn't beat the Bears, and then you got beat by Seattle at home in the season finale with Seattle playing for the 1 seed or something. It's like, all right, that wouldn't have been it'd be a tough way for it to end, but it wouldn't be bad. Now, to me, if you miss the playoffs, it's bad. You can't lose to this version of the Colts, whether it's Riley Leonard or 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. Like they should clean up in these next 2 games where they go comfortably to 11-4, and walk into the postseason and honestly leave Week 16 with a chance to be the number 1 seed.
I have no idea what to make of the Phillip Rivers thing. My inclination is to be like, this is going to be terrible. He hasn't taken a snap since 2020. He's 44 years old. We have no idea what Phillip Rivers playing football even looks like in 2025. Mm-hmm. The Niners defense hasn't been particularly good at bothering opposing quarterbacks from a pass rush perspective. So maybe that's something that factored into Shane Steichen's equation. But yeah, like I'm with you from the standpoint of they have to, like, it would be a calamity, an all-time bag fumble, to borrow a term from the youth, if the Niners don't make the playoffs. Was messing around on playoff prediction models on the internet before we came on here. ESPN has the 49ers at a 94% chance probability to make the playoffs. NFL.com is at 90%. New York Times / The Athletic, 94%. Sports Illustrated, 90%. So if they don't make the playoffs, and I think, their chances obviously increase if they get to 10 wins with a victory over Tennessee on Sunday, which they should. They should blow Tennessee out on Sunday. They should absolutely get to at least 11 wins, and I think overall that would be a pretty. If you were to tell me before the season started, before you lose Nick Bosa and Fred Warner to injury, and Brock Purdy's injury stuff and George Kittle's injury stuff and Brandon Ayuk's drama, if they had all those guys and you told me the Niners won 11 games, I'd be like, all right, that's, probably not like a great season given what the schedule was. Mm-hmm. But like, all right, 11 wins, you're in the playoffs. That should be fine. Mm-hmm. Now looking at it, 11 wins, like it's pretty damn impressive. And yeah, it's absolutely a flawed roster. And I would be pretty surprised if the 49ers made a run and won multiple playoff games. Mm-hmm. But then again, like, aside from the Rams and maybe the Seahawks, who the Niners have already beaten this year, both of those teams, I'm not really impressed with any of these teams in the NFC. Philadelphia didn't exactly cover themselves with glory on Monday night. Not to dive too far away from your initial point, but yeah, you beat Tennessee on Sunday, and then you have the Monday night game against the Colts and potentially Phillip Rivers, with your playoffs basically on the line at that point. You should absolutely win that game and absolutely get to 11 wins.
The other aspect of this, I want to talk about other standings things, but you brought up the Eagles. Are the Eagles the team, if you're the 49ers, you want to play right now? Out of all the potential matchups, Seattle, LA, Chicago, Green Bay, Philly seems like the team that you'd, if you had to pick a place to go play, you'd want to go there. They're a mess, dude.
Yeah, and the thing is with them, like, if you were to go, like, remember the Thursday night Rams game where the 49ers scored on their first two possessions and made it a 14-0 game?
Mm-hmm.
If that happened in Philadelphia in January and the Eagles were getting booed by their home fans, that would be a really bad scenario for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Just like really Philly is like kind of the only scenario where I see that happening. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
They're too nice in Green Bay. I don't know if you know this, Kyle, but in Los Angeles, when the 49ers play there at SoFi Stadium, a lot of Niner fans. So I don't think if the Niners went up big, there would be the Boo Birds wouldn't be very loud.
You mean like, but it's not like, I'm sure there people go, but it wouldn't be so crazy as like so far as people would give it like a nickname.
No, people are calling it Levi South.
What?
Yeah, they do that. They do that. Yeah, like I don't, but you could also convince me that the way Tampa Bay is playing lately, that you wouldn't hate going back to Tampa to try to beat them. Right.
Yeah, that's fair. Or the Panthers, if you have to go on the road and play the Panthers, if the Panthers wind up winning that division.
Yeah. So I would say I would probably put Tampa and the Panthers, the AFC South winner, at the top of the list, and then the Eagles second. Probably Green Bay third, and then the Rams or Seattle fourth. Just because they're good teams. Like the Niners could win. The Niners won't feel like they can't win in LA or Seattle. But I just feel like those are the two best teams in the NFC.
Man, right now. Seattle has been so freaking good. After their bye week, they've won by 24-22. They lost to the Rams by 2 and had a game-winning field goal attempt. They beat Tennessee by 6, and again, that wasn't really that close. They shut out the Vikings 26-0 and then beat Atlanta 37-9. Man. And yet, if things fall the 49ers' way, they could still win the division.
Yeah, and if they won the division, they'd probably win the 1 seed.
Which would just be, like, wrap up the Kyle Shanahan Coach of the Year, right? If that happens.
The Coach of the Year voting is... Yeah, the Coach of the Year voting thing is so... It's so weird, though. Like, he absolutely should be a candidate regardless. Like, he should be top 3 or 4 candidate regardless. I just... Like, if Mike Vrabel gets Drake May to the number 1 seed with the Patriots... I don't know. I just feel like that's such like a media darling thing. That the thing Kyle Shanahan has going against him when it comes to the Coach of the Year stuff is he's had a bunch of success before. And he's been to the Super Bowl recently with a lot of these players.
That's true.
So I'm not trying to say he's not a candidate because he absolutely is. I just think he'll get overlooked because of his recent success and the fact he doesn't have the narrative stuff that some of these other coaches will have. But yeah, if Kyle Shanahan drags this 49ers roster dealing with all these injuries to the number 1 seed in the conference, like that's insane. And he absolutely should win it, but he wouldn't.
They have a long way to go to get there, just to be clear. For sure. They would need to win out is how that would need to go.
Yeah.
You'd also need the Seattle to beat the Rams next week, I think, is how that would need to go. But anyways, we can cross that bridge when we get to it.
Rams have Detroit at home and Seattle the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, the Rams had Detroit at home and then Seattle has the Colts, the Rams, and then they're at Carolina, and Carolina beat the Rams in Carolina.
And so Carolina will probably have a lot to play for in that game too.
Yeah. Carolina and Tampa Bay having the same record after 14 weeks is kind of nuts to me, but But yeah, man, it's gone from it'd be cool if the Niners make the playoffs to they've gone 3-0 in this really important 4-0 stretch, and that stretch finishes this week against Tennessee, and we'll talk about that game a little bit more as the week goes on. But it's gone like, man, they should have 10 wins wrapped up after 15 weeks, and that might be enough to get into the playoffs. And they've avoided the weird loss in Cleveland. They avoided a weird division loss to Arizona. They've just kind of done everything right to this point that, man, if they don't, yikes.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird place to be. Like, if you zoom all the way out, if they were to miss the playoffs, if just a calamity happened and they missed the playoffs, you could zoom all the way out and go, all right, well, I mean, Mac Jones had to start some games, and Brock Purdy was dealing with a toe injury. No Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. You could talk yourself into being like, well, yeah, of course. And of course they didn't. But in context, and the fact they've gotten here is pretty amazing. And the fact that we're talking about it, we're because my concern is when it comes to this podcast and at Niners Wire, my concern when you see Nick Bosa go down in week 4. And then you see Fred Warner go down in week, what was that, 7? Week 6? A couple weeks later, you see Fred Warner go down.
Week 6.
And you see Brock Purdy struggling to come back from this toe injury. And Brandon Ayuk's not going to come back. And George Kittle's out for a bunch of weeks. And Ricky Pearsall's out for a bunch of weeks. It's like your concern is, this season's just going to be over in November. And the fact we're sitting here on December 9th doing a podcast about like, is it one seed in play? Is pretty remarkable. This has been a fun season. Shout out to the Niners.
Particularly with the context of we've seen them deal with injuries to this level before, and it completely derailed their season.
Right.
Like it happened in 2020, and they were a bad team, and it happened last year, and they went 6-11. Right.
I was even impressed though in 2020, which oddly enough was the last time that Phillip Rivers played football. Phillip Rivers hasn't played a 17-game season yet. This is the first time Phillip Rivers will play in a week 18. Anyways. Even that year, the 49ers were, I believe, going into 5. Going into that week 13 game against the Bills, they were still like, if they beat Buffalo and they were in the hunt. They were on the in the hunt graphic. Mm-hmm. And I think it took until week 15. I think it was the week 15 loss to Dallas. It was like, all right, that's it. Season is officially like mathematically done. And even that 2020 year, I was like, man, honestly, pretty impressive. Pretty impressive that through week 14, they were still kind of potentially in the mix. And now this year, they're still potentially in the mix, but it's for the 1 seed.
Yeah.
That's bananas.
It's crazy. I think
they went 1-7 at home that year.
So I think this is the least hot take I think anybody could have about the 49ers. This is just classic fence straddling. But I think I do believe this to be true. I think it's true that the 49ers schedule has been absolutely ass and favorable to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think what Kyle Shanahan and the team has done has been really impressive. I have a hard time believing the 49ers are in this situation if they're playing last year's schedule, where they have to go to Green Bay and Buffalo in back-to-back weeks in November, December, whenever that was.
Yeah, probably.
You know what I mean? Like, they definitely benefited from all the terrible quarterbacks that have been on their schedule. But at the same time, it's the NFL, and we can't take anything away from them.
Yeah,
especially since they did win that Thursday night game against the Rams on the road. They did beat Seattle on the road. Like, the 49ers have benefited from the crappy quarterbacks that they've played, but they also have some super impressive wins against probably two of the best teams in the NFC on the road.
Yeah, no one's calling us the best 49ers team of all time.
No.
And for the reasons you're saying, they're not a Super Bowl contender, at least in my opinion right now. But it's worth noting they lost to Jacksonville, probable playoff team. They've lost to Tampa Bay, probable playoff team. They lost to Houston, probable playoff team, and then they lost to the Rams, who might be the 1 seed. And then they've got like Saints. They beat the Cardinals twice. They got the Falcons. They beat the Giants. Like you can look at it, and I think if you're stacking up the 7 teams in the NFC right now, you might go, yeah, the 49ers are the 7th ranked one if you were just power ranking them. But
it's an interesting thought.
I don't know that I would do that. I'm just saying, like, if somebody wanted to make that argument, I wouldn't be like, you're definitely wrong. But if you were like, man, this is the team I feel confident can go on the road and win a playoff game, like I wouldn't hate it if somebody put the Niners at the bottom of that list, just based on their schedule and what they've done against playoff teams and their injury problems. Like it's a tall ask. Any playoff game they win is going to be impressive for me anyway. But that said, like you said, they took care of business against the Cardinals. They took care of business against the Panthers, something the Rams didn't do the very next week. They took care of business against a tough Cleveland Browns defense. They went in and hung up 26 points. Like they've done what they had to do to get to this point, and it would be way worse if they were playing all these quarterbacks and all these bad teams and sitting here at 6-7, you know.
For sure.
So
I just went through it real quick. I would probably power rank the 49ers 5th in the NFC. I would have them behind the Rams, Packers.
Who's in front? Who are they in front of?
I would have them in front of Tampa and Chicago.
Yeah, Tampa's not playing great right now, which is the other thing when we talk about playoffs. That's the other thing that so often gets overlooked going into a postseason is, man, Houston might win the AFC because they're just playing their very best football right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's something the 49ers have always been really good at, right? Like those years they started, 3-5, and then they were 2-4 and 3-5 in consecutive years, and they went on these big runs late in the year. Like maybe the 49ers...
They went to the NFC Championship game both those seasons.
Yeah, so maybe the 49ers are just going to be playing their best football going in, and that's it. But to that point on Tampa Bay has lost 4 of their last 5, including a loss to the Saints last week at home.
And me having the Niners 5th puts them behind Philly, but I don't feel good about Philly right now, and Philly's lost 3 in a row. So you
not
could
playing their best football.
You could definitely make a case that the Niners are 4th in the NFC, behind the Rams, Packers, Seahawks. Rams, Packers, and Seahawks.
The Eagles are going to be so interesting. They're 8-5. They have the Raiders this week, then Commanders, Bills, Commanders.
They should handle business. They should win 3 of their last 4.
If they don't, oof. They might be the first NFL team to fire a coach before they go to the playoffs. If they don't win 3 of those 4.
The Eagles are just like they're just like the smoking hot chick who like you date, and when it's great, it's the best thing ever, and when it's awful, it's like constant screaming matches and like throwing things at each other, you know? Like
sure.
Just such a volatile experience, the Philadelphia Eagles. Unhealthy, toxic.
The thing
one might say.
as poorly as they're playing right now, if you told me, yeah, they beat the Raiders and Commanders, and then they went into Buffalo and they figured it out, and they beat Buffalo, and Lane Johnson came back and the offense started moving, and the defense created some turnovers, and they finished the season on a 4-game win streak, and they went into the playoffs and took care of business in the playoffs. Sure.
Yeah, their ceiling is super high. Like they have a ton of talent, and when they play well, they're very tough to beat. But for whatever reason,
but boy, are they not playing well right now.
Boy, are they not playing well right now.
I'm trying to decide: does 10 wins get you to the playoffs? Because Carolina and Tampa are both 7-6, so they max out at 11. Do they play each other again? Oh, they play each other twice. Holy crap.
It doesn't matter because the team among those two that doesn't win the AFC South is probably out. So
Right.
it's more about
Right.
Chicago and Detroit.
What's Detroit's schedule look like? This is a good
Detroit's 8 and
Oh my God.
5.
They got
And then
Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears.
yeah, and Detroit's 8 and 5. Chicago's 9 and 4.
Detroit's probably 11 wins. Chicago's got Browns.
I think you need to get to 11.
I do too.
That's crazy. Like the NFC is so like maybe it's just because there's so many bad teams. It just feels like the records in the NFC are more impressive than the teams themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Everybody, I do tiers on my radio show. It's this thing I invented for ranking teams instead of like power ranking them. You put them in different tiers.
Wow.
And I have, so tier 1 is like the favorite, the real title contender. And I have the Rams by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then tier 2 is Seattle and Green Bay. And those are the teams that I think can win the Super Bowl, but I don't feel great about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's tier 3, and that's the teams that I think are good. They're going to finish above 500, but they're not a real threat to win the Super Bowl. And then there's tier 4. Tier 3 is like 7 teams.
Right.
And then tier 4 are the teams that I think probably finish below 500, but they're hard to beat. I have nobody there. And then there's the dregs, which are just the bad teams that people walk on. And that's the rest of the league. The rest of the conference.
Yeah, like to me, not to like it might upset 49ers fans to hear me say this, but like to me, when I think about the Niners, the Bears, the Lions, they feel like teams that should finish with like 8, 9, 10 wins.
Mm-hmm.
But they might, like the Niners might finish with 12,
mm-hmm.
and the Bears might finish with 10 or 11, and the Lions might finish with 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
It's a testament to how bad the bottom of the conference is. You have,
for sure.
You have Atlanta at 4 and 9, Arizona at 3 and 10, New Orleans at 3 and 10, Washington at 3 and 10, and the Giants at 2 and 11. So I feel like what's happened is you've had these teams that are probably like closer to 500 in real life, but because the bottom of the conference is so bad, the records look better than the teams actually are.
Yeah, what were the Falcons 4 and 2 when they came in to play the Niners?
Sounds right.
And they lost 5 in a row. Then they beat the Saints, who stink. Then they lost to the Jets and got blown out by the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And that was a team that when they played the Niners is just like, oh man, this might be a tough spot.
I have a question for you about the Seahawks because I tend to think they're the second best team in the NFC.
I agree.
But the Sam Darnold aspect of it is just kind of the dark cloud that's looming over everything. Like, is there anything Sam Darnold could do before the playoffs start, or even like that week 18 game against the 49ers for you to be like, nah, Sam Darnold's not the guy who completely crumbled last season with Minnesota, or the guy who's, had bad moments in big games kind of throughout his career. Yeah, like, is that hanging over the Seahawks for you? Because it is for me still.
This is a frequent discussion on the Insiders, 10 a.m. to noon on ESPN 1320 Sacramento Sports Center. Is a frequent discussion. Listen on the free Odyssey app, the free iHeart app, or the free TuneIn app, or check it out at youtube.com/ESPN1320. All right.
When you're done listening to Candlestick Chronicles, check out the show.
Obviously. Yeah. When we were talking about this, my buddy Jesse, who is D-Lo and KC's producer, was like, why aren't the Seahawks a tier 1 team? And it's this. I don't trust Sam Darnold. But you ask about the game, it's week 16 against the Rams in primetime on Thursday night. And it sucks that that's a Thursday night game. That sucks super hard that they're making that a Thursday night game. But
the Rams have 2 Thursday night games?
Mm-hmm. So
I hate when they do that.
Yeah, me too. That's the one for me. And I hate when they do it with a division game in week 16. Like, the division could be decided on a Thursday night game. That's stupid. But anyways.
I'm so out on Thursday night games.
I guess you could say that, though, for if the 49ers win the division, you could say it came down to that Thursday night game in SoFi. But
Levi's South, some call it.
Well, yeah. That's allegedly. I don't know if people have done write-ups on this or anything, but but if he plays well in that spot, then I will be much more open to the idea that, oh, man, maybe Sam Darnold can go into the playoffs and play well for 3 games. Yeah. But he was so bad in that must-win game last year in the Vikings-Lions game, and then followed that up with being so bad in their playoff game. I cannot get that out of my head. It wasn't like, oh man, he missed a couple of throws and that was that they lost. Like, he played well, but he just can't win one. Like, no, he played bad. And that's something I can't quite shake.
Yeah, I'm with you. But man, I would not want to play that defense in the playoffs.
I would want nothing to do with the Seahawks. They are very, very good.
Yeah. Playoffs will be interesting.
Yeah, so we're looking at it today. I don't think any of the the round 1 matchups in the NFC would be Chicago at Green Bay. That's the 2-7 matchup. Green Bay hosting Chicago. Would it shock you if Chicago went in and won that game?
No, wouldn't shock me. There's no matchup in the NFC where one team beating another would shock me.
So that's what I'm getting to. Niners Philly is the next one. Niners going to Philly and win a 21-17 game. Shock anyone?
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
No.
And then Seattle would have to go on the road to Tampa Bay if the standings finish like this. Seattle probably favored in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You could have in the NFC a very real scenario where the 5, 6, and 7 seeds all win on Wild Card Weekend. And I don't think anybody would be like, "Wow,
that would be sick."
Right? It would be crazy, but nobody would be like, "Wow, upset city in the NFC."
Yeah, man, that would be fun.
Do you want to know what sucks about the AFC right now? Houston, New England would be the 7-2 matchup with the standings as they currently are. That would be brutal. That's the 2 best teams in the AFC right now. With respect to the Broncos. I shouldn't say that. With respect, the Broncos are very good. I shouldn't say that.
God, the Jaguars are the 3rd seed?
Yeah, man. The AFC North is a 2-pack of ass.
I'm sorry. I do not find the NFL particularly enjoyable this year. I really like when I know that there's like a handful of just like elite teams, and I look forward to watching the elite teams play each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that Denver, New England aren't, but like,
no, it's
just different. The playoffs are so different that it's hard for me to have any faith that like, oh yeah, the Patriots are just gonna like go to the AFC Championship game because they're the 1 or 2 seed. You know.
Yeah, but it's also my question with the Broncos is their quarterback.
Oh,
can Bo Nix go put together some good playoff games? Can Drake May go put together some good playoff games? Can Trevor Lawrence go put together like that? I think we're just in this weird transition period with quarterbacks where we don't know who the great quarterbacks are right now.
Yeah, or the best ones are just having weird seasons.
Yeah. The Chiefs having a down year, the Ravens having a down year. Buffalo might come out of the AFC just because they have the best quarterback by a significant margin.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the interesting part of it. Like, I don't know, does Pittsburgh and the Chargers, like, wild card weekend do anything for you?
Can I tell you how thrilled I would be to not watch that football game? That is my wife and I are going to go do something and I'll check the score on my phone type of game.
Sure. Buffalo goes to Jacksonville. Yeah, Houston, New England.
Buffalo, Jacksonville's fun for me.
Yeah.
But Houston, New England would be...
Denver's strength of victory. Do you know what Denver's strength of victory is?
I could look. I have NFL Jesus up. I'm not looking right now. What is it?
It's the lowest of all the playoff teams in the entire league at 325.
Good God. So that's the winning percentage of the teams they've beat.
Yeah.
Man. When you get 2 against the Raiders, that's helpful. And then I think they also got Tennessee, didn't they?
That sounds right. Denver Broncos. What's their best win?
For reference, the 49ers dog shit schedule has given them a 385 strength of victory, which is better than Seattle and Chicago.
Okay, so their best win is probably that comeback they had at Philly.
Oh, for sure.
In week 5.
That was a genuinely impressive win.
But Philly's kind of fallen off since then.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Giants by a single point. They beat the Jets by 2 points.
They beat the Giants by a single point in the greatest comeback in NFL history. They were down 30 with 5 minutes left.
They beat the Commanders of Washington in overtime by a point.
Right, on a play where Washington had a chance to win it at the end.
Yeah.
They beat Kansas City on a last-second field goal, and Kansas City may or may not be good this year.
I'm not a wagering person, but if I were, I would look hard at Broncos opponents in the playoffs.
Hey, I have a fun game to play real quick. I think you're probably right. I have a fun game to play real quick. Let's do 10 teams, and this might be better served for a different podcast. But let's do 10 teams. How would the college football playoff committee, what 10 teams would they put in?
Oh, God.
Denver, New England for sure.
Denver, New England, Rams, Packers. Is that 4? Denver, New England, Rams, Packers.
Are they getting Houston in?
I mean, are they doing the dumb shit where it's every division winner and then 2 wildcard teams basically?
Yeah, if they're picking wildcard teams, yeah, we should have waited because this is a better exercise if we had thought about it more. I think if they're picking just 2 wildcard teams, they're probably picking Buffalo and Seattle, right?
Yeah, the division winners.
But Seattle gets in over the 49ers who beat Seattle. That's tough.
Seattle's point differential is 161.
Mm-hmm.
They're 10-3. The Niners are 9-4. Their point differential is 38.
38.
So
it's 38 with 29 points of wins in their last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think Seattle, even though the Niners beat the Seahawks, I think if it were the division winners and 2 wildcard teams, it would have to be Seattle in the NFC.
You said 38?
Yeah.
That accounts for, let's see, 19, 30. Oh, sorry, 48. They're plus 48 in their last 3 games. And plus 38 for the season. What a
the
team.
Niners are the classic, the record is better than basically every single metric, but the record's the record. That's right. Bill Parcells. You are what your record says you are. So,
yep. I think that's all I have until we start looking ahead to Sunday's game.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think that there's a very real chance. I'm going to be very optimistic if and when the 49ers make the playoffs. Depending on who they go against, I'll be very optimistic about their ability to win at least one playoff game.
Yeah, it still super depends. If they wind up as a 7 and something weird happens and they have to go to LA or Seattle, I feel less good about it.
But if they have to go to Tampa, Green Bay, or Philly, I would love their chances.
I feel okay about
maybe love is strong. I would like their chances.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't because you know how I roll. I wouldn't necessarily be optimistic, but I think they can win in those places way more than I think they could go win in LA or Seattle.
Yeah,
in a playoff
I think so too. Yeah.
So, anyways, that's all I got. Subscribe
We're
to
back.
the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Candlestick Chronicles Podcast, or just search Candlestick Chronicles on YouTube. We pop up right there. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Tell your friends. Niners are probably going to the playoffs, so lock in.
Hey, some other news. My place of employment, which will go unnamed, has decided to cover the 49ers again.
Hey,
so
let's go.
There's it's kind of been this thing that hasn't been talked about on this podcast for a multitude of reasons.
What do you mean?
Obviously, since starting this podcast, I have moved to Sacramento and not been a beat reporter. But my place of employment is interested in rekindling some Niners coverage. It won't be beat coverage, but I have an application for credentials submitted for Sunday's game against the Titans, and my place of employment will be represented in the 49ers press box once again, as will this podcast, of course. But
obviously,
so we won't be going live immediately after the game, because I will be in the throes of post-game press conferences and locker room scrums and all that fun stuff that comes with covering games. But yeah, we're back on site. So
ask George Kittle if he wants a Candlestick Chronicles hoodie.
We're competition for him now. He used to come on our pod before he had his own pod and his own holiday and his own university and all this stuff that he's doing. We're small time now for superstar George Kittle, but
Kyle Juszczyk will wear one.
Yeah. No, I'll talk to George. We'll see. Let's see how it goes.
All right. That's all we got. Shout out to our Roker.
See ya.